Welcome to Sun City TV's election special, Meet the Candidate. I'm Georgia Lash and I'm here at Argent Lakes Pub and Pizzeria to direct questions and meet with board candidate Maria Tabernik, better known as Tab. Welcome, Tab. Thank you for coming.
You're very welcome. I'm happy to be here.
Well, let's get started. Please share your background with our Sun City residents.
Well, I did 30 years of service in public education in Ohio, starting as a middle school mathematics teacher and moving up the ranks to be assistant superintendent for curriculum of the 10th largest district in the state. At 30 years, I was eligible to retire, so I did, and went to work for a nonprofit for the next 7 years, working with middle school and elementary teachers on how to do hands-on mathematics with children for deeper understanding, and then working with principals to enhance their leadership skills. After that, I spent about 2 years going all over the country teaching Common Core mathematics standards from North Dakota to Chicago to Florida. That was kind of interesting. Then I decided to move to South Carolina, moved to Sun City where I'd visited a number of times. Came here in October 2011, so I'm at my 12-year anniversary as we speak. When I came here, I thought, what am I going to do? I was not busy, so I right away signed up to serve on 2 committees. Joined Leadership Development Committee for 2 years, and then was appointed to the Finance Committee as well in 2012. Served 4 years there, then served 4 years on Covenants Committee, which I thoroughly enjoyed. And in 2017, one of our board members left abruptly, and Pulte appointed me to the board. So I've been serving this community as a board member since 2017. In addition, I am the AARP coordinator for Bluffton, Hilton Head, and Sun City for taxes. We do probably $2,000 a year, free for residents. I'm also on the board of directors of Staying Connected, which is a great organization. And then in November, I was elected to Beaufort County Council. So a little bit of things to do.
Now, how do you define the role of a Sun City board member?
Well, my primary role is to advocate for residents and to assume a fiduciary responsibility for this community. That means every decision we make needs to be in the best interest of this community, not what I want, but what the community residents want. Is everyone always happy? No, but that's my primary responsibility. We monitor the budget, we take a look at all the governing documents and enhance the rules as needed. We also go neighborhood meetings to talk, because I think one of our other primary responsibilities is educating residents. What does Pulte do? What does the board do? What does AAM do? So speaking to people is extremely important. Communicating with people is very important. We do town halls and all of those things. So I think your primary responsibility is your residents. You listen and you follow through.
Why did you decide to run again?
Well, I'll tell you, serving 7 years, I really love representing the residents. This is a very joy of my life. I live here, I work here, I now play here too, and I want to believe that we can uphold the standards of this community. So I want to keep that going. I know quite a bit about the community, which can provide continuity to the board, and I want to bring that expertise to my residents.
Now, what accomplishments could you cite in a nutshell from your previous terms?
I like the nutshell part. Well, one of the biggest accomplishments is we received the deed to Palmetto Commons. Some people may not know we didn't own that, but now we own it. We bought it for $5, and we own Palmetto Commons. And in that deal with Pulte, we also got $200,000 to build a golf maintenance building right down the street here, which should happen probably in 2024. You know, everything takes a while. I think the biggest accomplishment is the board has been able to maintain a reasonable HOA fee. The average is 2.5% to 3%. Last year was an anomaly at 4.97% increase, but we were in the midst of inflation and everything else happening in the world. So I'm really proud of our history of keeping the HOA low. It's very competitive all the way down the island. I count that as a big accomplishment. There are other things which are too numerous to mention, but coming up, one of our accomplishments will be that we've given a lease to have a fire station built on the south side just before the new River Sports Park, and that will be at no cost to our residents, funded by the county. So in my email coming out next week, there'll be other lists so people could read it.
Now, you've already mentioned that you are elected to the Beaufort County Council. So how do you balance the requirements of that position with your responsibilities as a Sun City board member?
That's a really great question. My children ask me, why are you doing this? You're supposed to be retired. Well, when I looked at the District 6, which is the one I now represent, 2/3 of my county district is Sun City, from Argent Way all the way down to Lazy Daisy and Landing Lane, and then outside the gate running down 170 to New River. So it's 17,100 people. I already know Sun City really well, and people are comfortable talking to me about issues they have. And then I got to know quite a few people outside Sun City. It's just another way to give my time back to the community and help where I can. I'm vice chair of the finance committee, which now we are in the midst of a few things. So that's taken a little more time than I thought. But it's a great opportunity to serve this community in another way.
Now, in your next term, what would be a short-term priority you'd like to tackle? And what would be the actions you'd take to get good results?
The primary responsibility, I still say, is to monitor our budget. We're going to come in around $30 million. That's a lot of money. And our reserve accounts, it's over $20 million. So my responsibility should be to make sure we spend your dollars appropriately. We are good safeguards of your money. So given the time of inflation we're still in, we have to spend that money wisely. So one of the things will be, we're working on the budget now. One is that responsibility. And another short-term goal would be, what is our capital improvement plan? What do we want to add to this community going forward in the future, and what steps will we take? We're going to have to create a capital fund. Capital funds do not come out of your HOA, they have to be added to it. So we're going to have to go through the study we have, identify what we would like to have, what we can have, and how much it will be. Those are my shortest term goals.
Now, in addition, what long-term goals or priorities do you think Sun City should be addressing? You've already mentioned the capital funds.
Yes, that's one. I think we always have to look at how our population is shifting and make sure we're meeting the needs of people. We have people living here from the early 50s all the way to 100. So does our lifestyles department meet everyone's needs? You're never going to meet everyone's needs. But do our amenities serve the needs of the people? Are we keeping up with the times? That's a very long-term goal. You have to continually study what other people are doing and see where we're going. Another long-term goal will be, how do we assimilate Argent East? And we'll talk about that question coming up, because that's adding 1,500 homes to us. We have 9,110 homes built right now, looking to add another 1,400. So that's a very long-term goal, seeing if we can meet everybody's needs. And the other one is, I think we have to be aware of what's happening around us. Anyone who travels Argent Boulevard knows there's a lot of building there. So what's happening to us in what we call the 170 triangle? That's Argent Boulevard to 170 to 278 in front of our gates. What is happening there? Because that affects all of us. So that's a long-term goal we have to deal with.
Now, you mentioned Argent East. Mm-hmm. What do you perceive as the positive and the negative aspects of that expansion?
Well, the positive, of course, is we're going to welcome more people here and diversify our population. I mean, I meet interesting people every single day. We have people from every walk of life here. So it's very interesting to talk to people and see where they're from and hopefully engage them in the government of our community. That's a positive. Pulte will be building amenities over in Argent East. Last I heard, they're going to break ground sometime late 2024. But if you can fast forward a couple years, we'll have some beautiful amenities there for people to share. So that's a real positive. On the other side of the coin, number one, it expands our community a lot. And if you look at our community now, we have the main campus where I live at Bull Hill Plantation. I am all the way down by the Bluffton Parkway. And then there's Riverbend. Then there's this Argent 2 where we are now. And now we will be at Argent East. That has really spread us well over acreage. And if you look to go from where I live to Argent East, I better have really good golf cart batteries to go and get back. So we're spreading out as a community, and what I hope will not happen is that people say, I live in Argent East, so I'm only going to use that pool. I'm not going to Pinckney Hall. And I don't want people on the main campus to say, I'm not going to the amphitheater in Argent East, it's too far. We need to strive to be one community, so that's going to be a challenge. We already have Tanya told me, 170 miles of roads. You're about to add many more roads there, so that will present a challenge for our reserve account eventually, and we have to staff things. So there are positives, and then there are the flip side.
You've mentioned communication is important. What are the channels of communication that you see are vital to our Sun City residents, and what opportunities do you think we still have to expand that area?
Well, the ones I think are vital, I think it's important people come to quarterly meetings, our annual meeting, where of course everybody comes to hear what the new HOA amount will be, then they leave. We have town halls. We just had one on hurricane preparedness. We have them on safety. We've had them on the fire station. We've had them on a number of things. Those are times for people to hear what's going on, to ask questions and become involved. We also do, the Community Association does E-News Weekly, Sun City Week Ahead. I write the board update every 2 weeks when we meet to discuss what's happening as a board. I put out to the community a brief update. Nobody wants to read a dialogue or a thesis, so I try to keep it brief. We do neighborhood meetings, the board members. We meet with small groups of people. I usually meet them here when it's closed so we can sit and enjoy the ambiance. We also answer every email that comes to the board of directors, any phone call, people drop by my house. All of these are ways to communicate. And honestly, I always say when somebody says you don't communicate, I just ask, how can we do it better? Because if I could say the number one issue I find when I'm speaking to neighborhoods or anyone else is they have not opted in to our communications. And that's very important if you want to be involved. You know, some people move here and they just want to live their life. Play pickleball, play tennis, golf. I don't want to be bothered with the rest of the nonsense. Unless a hurricane's coming, then tell me what to do. And that's okay.
Well, that's our time for today. Thank you for coming. Thank you for joining us here.
You're welcome. Looking forward to running again.
On Monday, October 30th through Friday, November 3rd, Sun City residents, one vote per rooftop, will be asked to cast their vote to elect a board of director for Sun City, and in 33 neighborhoods electing their neighborhood representative and their alternate neighborhood representative. I would like to stress the importance of each rooftop submitting their vote. Every neighborhood needs to vote. Even if your neighborhood's representatives are not up for election, it is mandatory to have at least 20% of a neighborhood voting to have their required quorum. For those not feeling confident enough to vote via the website, kiosk voting will be provided in Palmetto Commons. The kiosk voting will be open on Thursday, November 2nd, 9 to 11 a.m., and Friday, November 3rd, 9 a.m. and 2 to 4 p.m. Voting will close at 11:59 p.m. on November 3rd. The results will be announced at the Sun City annual meeting on November the 8th.